Well, first of all, thanks for your time and congrats on the film. I was talking to a fellow critic yesterday who I really respect, and she was talking about how she watched this film and went to bed that night, and it was almost like traumatic. It was almost like unnerving and this feeling and this sense of dread. And I had the same feeling that this is like could be possibly happening like in our near future. Did
Yeah.
you feel that at any point when you were creating the movie, that what you were dealing with could possibly be not just a great story, but something that we're headed to?
Yeah, well, and sorry by the way for that. That was my I'm as a director, I'm always trying to find a way to surprise you with something you haven't felt yet. I hope you haven't. And I can give you then something maybe a little new and original. And creating this film obviously was, uh, I don't think it's obvious, but to me, making films like this, it's the first time I did anniversary, like a dystopian thriller, maybe, was kind of to address my own anxiety, um, and my own fear of social collapse, but also, more importantly, my family's collapse, um, in changing times, in a dynamic that of the society that's shifting. What's We don't care about, big numbers, but what we care about is our loved ones and closest ones. So when the change destroys what's between you and your family or friends, that's when it's most nightmarish and scary. And that's probably what I was working on. And it's true to my feeling. I think cinema shouldn't shy away from touching those feelings too. Like I think we have such an array of different tastes in cinema, and sometimes we are too afraid to touch some of them. I think there's more unexplored ground and anxiety in this regard coming from, my sense of or my fear of apocalypse. Um, Within my own family too is one of the feelings I wanted to kind of give voice to and make a film only about it.
hmm And no apologies necessary because we do want to walk away from a film feeling touched and moved and thinking about it hours later. So I appreciate what you did with this film as far as a viewer making me focus on something or think about something and not just, watch it and then go away and forget about it. So that was really well done. One of my favorite scenes in any movie is a dinner scene, a dinner party. You have multiple people sitting around, there's several conversations. And as a viewer, we feel like we're either at the table or a fly on the wall. Talk a little bit about the excitement and just some of the maybe the tricks of capturing those scenes so that the viewer hears all the conversations, but you keep us focused on the main conversation. And
Yeah.
especially in this one, you have a couple of great dinner party scenes where this family is sitting around and there's anger and there's excitement and there's jokes and all this. So keeping that all for the viewer, how was that?
Well, and thank you, by the way. I teach students at school, and I know that, there's going to be a time when we release the film, and I will be able to finally talk about those scenes with my students, because it's a battlefield for a director. You have 8 actors at least in a scene, and everyone you have to track everything they think about and what they say, and it's like an orchestra. You have to conduct it in the way you don't lose the main scope of the scene, but it varies and it changes, and suddenly you have mutations of how to jump from grief to something funny to something ecstatic and then to something brutal within, the scope of one family setting by the table. So yeah, those scenes we were shooting them like you would shoot, yeah, like you would compose music, really. I was I've spent 8 years in music school, so I love to work on scenes like this. I rarely did scenes like made scenes like this in my life. And here it's the first time I'm working with a family dynamic like this. So also having eight, um, you know, recognizable or just kind of characters like we want to make them memorable. We have to make sure everybody is covered and everybody has a different act that's separate from the whole dynamic, but also everybody kind of uh develops a relationship with everybody else by the table. So my job was to create this tree of connections and find ways to film them and never kind of, because then when you watch it you would feel the discrepancy. So I had to make sure I understand everything that was going on. So we spent months designing those scenes. They're super hard to design, super exciting. And on the day I was just sitting by the table with my 11 pages of dialogue, and I really was like trying to track everything. And because once you get to the page number 7, you could forget what you wanted in page number 3. So I was just, I have photos of this. It looks frantic. And and yeah, I think, at the end of the day, when we finished, sometimes, those scenes took more than one day to shoot. When we finished, we were like, Jesus, man, it's so exhausting. Like you would never think it's like we called it a gladiators arena because the arena is the table. You have 8 gladiators. Everybody's fighting for the attention. Everybody's fighting for their place by the table, and there's so many different dynamics, so many different connections, and you have to be aware of them. But at the same time, you have to keep the progression of it so you don't lose track, and it has a dynamic of it can be a chaos. It was superb as an experience. And the whole film is based on it. The table is the arena, and that's the only thing we have: table, walls, and faces for like 85% of the film.
Yeah, well, it worked. The whole thing from beginning to end with the characters and the cast, just it was a really interesting, thought-provoking film. So again, congratulations on it. I appreciate your time today and best of luck with it.
Thank you, Matt.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
Take care.